Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Now for the quadratic equation, I am again presenting this problem, Randall Ridolutu, as presenter of these equations or for the quadratic. Now, we're going to apply for the quadratic in solving quadratic equation. So, in solving quadratic equation or factoring quadratic equation, obviously use that we're going to use the parenthesis sign, or this would be used for factoring. Now in factoring, we're going to have both side equated and write that one into and equal to 0. So this would be our example number 1. For example number 1, you have x plus 7 and x minus 2. Now being separated with a parenthesis, so it's just so simple. So x plus 1 must be equated in 0. Also, x minus 2 must be equated in 0. Now, short term, we're going to transfer this 1, 7 to the other side. Then, if we're going to transfer that 1, we're going to use the opposite sign of 7. If positive 7 is here in the left side, if we're going to transfer that 1 into the other side, we get the negative 7, which is here, this is our exact answer. Now, for the other part, we have x minus 2 and 0. Now, if the opposite sign for negative is positive, so simply write x equals to positive 2, and this is our answer. So simple, right? For example 1. For example 2. Now, for example 2, we are going to solve for our factoring method. Now, for our factoring method, since in the equation we're not given with a parenthesis, so we're going to apply the parenthesis or the factoring method. Now, in factoring method, we're going to relate for this or the multiples. So 2x squared plus 6x equals to 0, then 2x times x minus 3 is equals to 0. So negative 2 times x times negative 3. So let's do the checking if we're able to get this answer using this equation. So just a short review, 2 times x would be, or negative 2x times x would be 2x squared, negative 2x squared. Now, in the bottom part, and next part, was this x, 6x. So 2 times negative 2x times negative 3 would be positive. Then, 2 times 3 is 6. That would be equal to get 6x. Now, for this one, since we have the separator of the parentheses, we're going to write this one in the bottom part. So, this would be our part A and part B. So, negative 2x equals to 0. Then, you have simply copy, then 2x equals to 0. Then, to get the x, we're going to simply remove negative 2. We're going to do that, we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. So x or negative 2 divided by negative 2, or negative 2x divided by 2 is equals to x. Then the other part is 0 divided by negative 2 and equal to 0. And here, for example, x minus 3 is equals to 0. Then simply transfer that one to the right side. So what is the opposite sign for our negative is, that would be becoming positive. So we get the value for x and is equal to 3. So we have the following answers: x equals to 0 and x equals to 3. That would be the factoring method. Now, for this part of solving a quadratic equation below by factoring method. So, let's solve your equation step by step. This one. So, locating for the value for the first term or the A, we're going to have we're going to write the list of multiples. So 1 times 35 is equals to 35. Then we have 7 times 5 is equals to 35, and this would be our smallest values. So we have 7 and 5 now. Getting to 22. So how are we going to do that one? So simply, since we have this one, so we have 3 and 1. Okay, so let's check if our equation is right. 7 times 5 and 7. Okay. So first we have 7 times x is 35x squared. And now next one would be the x value here. So 7, so 3, or rather 7 times 1 is 7 x plus 5 times 3x equals to 15x. So add, we have 35x plus 22x, then 3 times 1 would be 3. So plus 3. Okay, the answer would be right. This one, it is correct. So we're going to set the factor since we have both of these ones. So we're going to have 7, or equate the both equation equal to 0. So 7x plus 3 is equals to 0, and the other one is 5x plus 1 is equals to 0. Then we get the value of right. So to do this one, so simply 7x plus 3 is equals to 0, right? So to get the value of x, we're going to divide both sides by 7. So simply transfer, so some 7x is equals to, what is the opposite sign first of negative, of 3? Negative, so negative 3. Then next part would be 7x equals to negative 3 divided by 7 So our x would be x is equals to negative 3 over 7. And the other one would be, let's write 5x plus 1 is equals to 0, right? Now 5x, we're going to transfer this one. So 5x, what is opposite sign for positive would be negative, negative 1. So we have, or negative, both divide both sides by 5. We have cancelled, we have x is equals to negative 1 over 5, or negative 1/5, and would be, our answers would be x equals to negative 3 over 7 and x equals to negative 1/5. And that would be our lesson for today in solving using the factoring method. Thank you.